Welcome to the New Process Podcast. Learn all the tools, methods, and best practices combined with people, emotions, and a human-centric mindset to rethink your process and push it to the next level. And here is your host, Mirko Kloppenberg.
Yeah, welcome to episode 21 of the New Process Podcast. Today we're going to talk about the topics you don't need to miss for 2023. Therefore, I'm not only going to talk about the results of the New Process Survey, where you handed in all your topics you have on your list for the next year, but I also asked a number of process management thought leaders on LinkedIn for their topics they would recommend to the New Process community to have a look onto in 2023.
And now, let's start to rethink processes.
Before we're going to look into the future, I would like to have a look back onto the past year. So there did a lot happen in 2022. The year started for me personally with a really big change in my life. So after more than 21 years with the Lufthansa Group, I left the company to go fully in with newprocesslab.com. And as one of the first tasks I worked on starting in March, that was to really fulfill one of my lifetime dreams of starting my own podcast. And you are now listening to the New Process Podcast, which is the result of these activities. So it took me several weeks to get started. And up to now, this is already episode 21 you're listening to, and was such a cool journey. And I really love to share my journey with you. And I'm so grateful that so many people of you are following this journey and handing in their ideas and helping me to rethink processes. That's super cool. So I already asked end of last year the New Process community for their topics for the year 2022. And there was one major topic, 59% of all the participants named, and that was that you would like to know how to inspire people for processes. And this was basically my core topic last year. And this is also what is reflected by all the different episodes of the New Process Podcast. So kicking off the New Process Podcast together with Benjamin Rolf in the episode on process purpose. That was for me personally really important because I think that defining or developing a process purpose is something like a superpower for a process owner. So bring the people together and think about why do we have this process. It really helps to inspire your process community for this specific business process. So it definitely makes sense to look into that. And looking onto the other episodes, there were a number of highlights. Next one, which is also one of the most listened episodes, with Michael Bogner from Lufthansa Technik, where he told us about how they lead more than 20,000 employees with a process-oriented approach there. So if you would like to learn more about how a process framework looks like that really inspires people for processes, then I would recommend listening to the episode with Michael Bogner, which is, by the way, episode number 6. Yeah. And then we continued with Professor Dr. Daniel Beimborn from University of Bamberg to learn more about how to get to the cutting edge of BPM by, bringing in academia into the corporate world to improve your process management approach. So that was also something which was super interesting for me to wrap up and to see what is going on there right now. We continued with an episode with Mika Leinonen from the Ghost community on community building. That's also something which is really powerful to apply community methods or community building methods to inspire people for processes. We talked to Ole Tillmann on how to pitch your process. That's also super interesting to learn how you can approach people to convince them and to inspire them for your processes. I also talked to Jasmine Caratas on gamification, so how gamification ideas can be used to inspire people for processes. And we then ended up with an interview with a real process architect, so with Christoph Bünker, also from Lufthansa Technik, and he told us more about how life as a process architect looks like. So in addition to that, there were more than, I think in total 5 interviews up to now with BPM tool vendors on my journey to find a human-centric BPM tool. And there are more to come next year. So super interesting topics. And I still don't have all the necessary time to wrap up all the learnings and share the results with you. It's really hard to bring that all together because in parallel, I was also working on some inspiring consulting jobs with some very cool companies around here. So implementing a human-centric BPM approach in several companies, that's super fascinating to see how an organizational specific framework could look like, which then helps to inspire the people for processes and also finding a tool which can be used to inspire people for processes. So this is still a big challenge, and I'm going to continue my search for finding a human-centric BPM tool next year. I also had the chance to hold some inspiring keynotes on new process in several companies to, give some ideas to the people on how to inspire people for processes. That was super cool, and I'm already looking forward to consulting jobs like these in the future. So, but now, having that said, let's start with looking onto the year 2023. So, before we are going to look at the topics you named as your topics for the next year, I would love to share some of the thoughts that the thought leaders for BPM on LinkedIn named. And therefore, I asked them the following question. So, from your expert perspective, what is the top BPM topic in 2023 that the members of the new process community should address and why? And kicking that off, here is the first answer coming from JM and Roland from the What's Your Baseline podcast.
Hey, this is Roland from the What's Your Baseline podcast.
And I'm J.M. Erlendson, his co-host. And we are here today to tell you, the new process community, and of course, Mirko, all about our thoughts for the BPM focus topics for 2023. Roland?
Really? We have something? Oh, yeah, I forgot. Yeah, we have something. Mirko, our wish for 2023 is not only a red sports car, but it's also that you talk about the artificial borders that we see between the different disciplines, mining, design, automation. Because in our opinion, it's just nonsense. We want to have one full process and we want to improve the process performance, don't we, JM?
Exactly. They're 3 sides of the same coin. That's a weird coin. Where you have people who are using process automation, you have your data science team, you have your business process analysts and process methodology experts. Those are kind of 3 silos right now, and they're viewed as such by both technology and by human beings. What if they became part of both technology platforms and perhaps most importantly, part of an expected combined skill set? Something you could take to market, something you could use to truly end-to-end make processes better. How's that sound?
That sounds good, and I will never play coin flip with you. I think I will just lose.
Oh, well, thank you for having us, Mirko. It's a pleasure.
So, Mirko, here you have it. See you in the next one.
Yeah, thank you, JM and Roland, for your topic here. I think it's really important to remove this artificial barrier between the 3 disciplines of mining, designing, and automation. And we already talked about that in the podcast with Bernd Rücker from Camunda, that IT and business should get closer together. And same in the interview with Christoph Bünker on how life as a process architect looks like. We discovered that topic and discussed it, that all the different disciplines should move closely together because it's in the end just one to improve the overall process performance. Yeah, cool, guys. Thank you very much for your input here. And that fits to the interviews that we had in the past. JM was in an interview together with Caspar Jans. And here is what Caspar Jans has to say.
Hi, this is Caspar Jans from Software AG, and my top BPM topic for 2023 is enterprise management. Integrating process management and process-driven management into every nook and cranny of the organization is going to be the topic for next year. We see that with the increase of regulation. We see that in the integration of great technologies like process mining, like government's risk and control. It's all coming together, and companies need to figure out that dealing with this requires one source of your, I would say, organizational knowledge, your organizational setup, the way that you work. It's called BPM, basically. So enterprise management will be the topic for 2023. Thank you very much.
Yeah, what a chilly music today. Thank you, Caspar, for your input. And I think it's really important to have a holistic BPM approach implemented in an organization. Great. Okay. And Caspar already mentioned topic of process mining. For sure, that's one of the hype topics throughout the last years. And I don't want to miss that here. And therefore, I ask Jakub and Patrick from the Mining Your Business podcast what their topics are.
Hey, it's Patrick and Jakub from the Mining Your Business podcast, a show all about process mining, data science, and advanced business analytics. And we are going to be talking about what we are looking forward to in business process management in 2023. Personally, I would like to see the simulation aspect of process mining, because we are in the process mining sphere, about simulating business processes to better get an understanding about what would lead to potential impacts, what certain actions in your business process would then trigger, and all the consequences of that. So I think the simulation part, the technical challenges involved, are something that I'm very much looking forward to.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for the introduction, Patrick. Here's Jakub. And for me, I'm actually focused a bit more on the human aspect, on getting organizations to move based on the findings and on the insights they are gaining from process mining initiatives, which ultimately are part of this BPM environment. So this is what I'm excited about.
Thank you, Mirko.
Thank you, Mirko. And hi.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, cool, Jakub and Patrick. Thank you for your topics for 2023. And process mining for sure is already something for the higher maturity levels of a business process, but we can push that even further. And I asked the godfather of process mining, Woldt van der Aalst, what he thinks we should focus on as a topic in 2023.
Hi, this is Woldt van der Aalst, professor at RWTH Aachen University and chief scientist at Celonis. My BPM topic for 2023 is object-centric process mining. In BPM and also process mining, we often focus on different object types in isolation. For example, we create an event log for sales order, an event log for shipments, an event log for production orders, etc. However, in the real world, processes involve multiple objects, and these are of different types and intertwined. Therefore, we need to fully embrace object-centric process mining. Using object-centric process mining, we can find and fix inefficiencies with greater power and simplicity than ever before to visualize, analyze, and improve processes much closer to reality. Simply put, we need to move from two-dimensional static views of our processes and organizations to a three-dimensional dynamic view. This allows us to look at processes from any angle, and there is no need to create new event logs for different questions. Object-centric process mining emerged from 2 decades of research, starting with the Proclets in the late 1990s, to the OCL standard released a few years ago, and the first commercial implementation in the form of Processphere presented by Celonis at this year's Celosphere. Lifting process mining from 2D to 3D is a major milestone in the development of BPM and will be one of the main trends that we will see in 2023.
Yeah, thank you very much, Will, for your topic for the upcoming year. And it's always good, as you see, to cooperate with academia to stay at the cutting edge of the BPM development. For sure, object-centric process mining may be something which is at the very top of the maturity level, but it definitely makes sense to have a closer look onto that and to learn how process mining can benefit from this approach. I'll put a link into the show notes where you can learn more about this in an article on the webpage of the University of Aachen. Cool. Yeah, and we're going to continue with another professor. I asked Professor Dr. Marlon Dumas what he has on his list for us for 2023.
Hi, I am Marlon Dumas, co-founder of Apromore and professor at University of Tartu in Estonia, and also a long-term enthusiast of the BPM discipline. I am asked what is, in my opinion, the top BPM topic in 2023 that the members of the new process community should address. I strongly believe that the key topic for 2023 for BPM professionals will be the absorption of two technologies that grew in the euphoria of the past decade into the mainstream BPM discipline. And I refer here to RPA and process mining. What do I mean? See, between 2010 and now, RPA and process mining have had a tremendous uptake and impact. Companies around the world have collectively invested billions and billions of dollars into automating and optimizing their processes using these technologies. Many companies, not all, but some, have reaped the benefits, no doubts about it. But we have now hit the point of diminishing returns. From now on, RPA and process mining will have to demonstrate sustainable value repeatably quarter after quarter. Companies that are adopting or scaling up their RPA efforts or their process mining efforts will be paying careful attention to every investment they make, and they will want to see business value repeatably across the board. And what this means, well, you won't automate a task just because you can or because it's easy. You will do it because it brings fundamental value to the process, to the business, to the customer. You will not analyze a process with process mining just to get insights. You will do it because you will be using those insights to make changes to your process. And these changes will have to be measurable. And these gains that you measure will have to be sustained over the long term. And along the way, as this happens, two things will happen. First, you will see more process mining being used in conjunction with RPA to drive automation decisions. And that is actually already happening. But more than this, you will see that these technologies will blend into the BPM lifecycle and will be used in conjunction with other tools in the BPM toolbox, like process mining and root cause analysis, process mining and waste analysis, process mining and value chain analysis, or process mining and simulation. And then you will see process mining and RPA being used together with various process analysis and redesign techniques. And what will come out of this? Well, it's a strengthened BPM discipline into the future. So long live BPM.
Yeah, long live BPM. Thank you, Marlon. That's great. Okay, and as you already heard, Marlon was talking about RPA, which is robotic process automation. And that leads us to the next topic, where we're talking about process automation in general. And we are going to start with Ema Roloff. You maybe know her nice TikTok videos. She is also sharing on LinkedIn about digital transformation. And here is what she has to say.
Hi, this is Ema Roloff with EIS, and my top BPM prediction for 2023 is going to be the increased adoption of low-code and no-code platforms as we move forward into next year. We're seeing so much potential with the ability for business users as well as their IT staff to really build efficiencies using these platforms that I think as more organizations bring them into their landscape of technology platforms, we're going to see even more automation than we have in years past.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ema, for your input. And there is one more input on process automation. Here is Nico Bitzer from Bots and People.
Hi, this is Nico from Bots and People, and my BPM topic for 2023 is the human side of automation. It is super tempting to start from a process or technological perspective, but in the end, it is the human that have to deal with the process. Companies now understood that. Forbes, for example, ranks the lack of change management and upskilling as the top 2 reasons why process automation initiatives fail. Companies like Generali or Spotify massively invested in citizen development concepts to get their people into the driver's seat of automation. And why? Because it is simply not possible anymore to fill the gap between the need of automation and native tech people. And companies need to adapt processes fast with technology nowadays to stay competitive at all.
Yeah, thank you very much, Nico, for highlighting the human side of process automation. I think that's very important to not miss the people there and always get back to a human-centric approach, even for process automation. And just keep in mind that both process mining as well as process automation are topics for higher maturity levels. So before going into these topics, please start to implement a process-oriented thinking first. So create process documentation to get a common understanding, establish process management roles like process owner, process architect, and later on these roles then can work on managing and improving, as well as doing process mining and process automation for their processes. That's really important. Okay, cool. So then let's zoom out a little bit and get to a more holistic topic. Here is Roger Tregear, and this is what he has on his list for 2023 as his recommendation for the new process community.
This is Roger Tregear. My BPM topic for 2023 is the same as it has been for every year and the same as it should be for every year to come, and that's process performance. If everything we do in process isn't about improving organizational performance, then why are we doing it? Has to be about that. That's the measure by which we should test how useful our process work is. For all the complexities of the technology we use and all the ways we approach it, it's always got to be about process performance. We've got to build a profound body of knowledge about those processes that we're actively managing so that certainly we know what the performance should be, process KPIs and targets, certainly what it is. We need to measure performance, but we don't stop there. What could it be? We know what good looks like. What would exceptional look like? And then also we can go on from that and say, what will it be? Will it be useful if not just reporting what happened last week and last month, but we could report next week and next month? And we can do that level of forecasting if we understand process performance well enough. So my topic for now and for the rest of the life of the galaxy is process performance. We need to build systems for continuous learning that will give us the deep knowledge that lets us make good decisions about process management and improvement, and for them to go on and actually deliver a return on process.
Yeah, thank you, Roger, for your holistic input on process performance. That's great. And finally, there is one last expert input here, and this is coming from Can.
Hi, this is Jan from 360 Digital Transformation. My top BPM topic for 2023 is human-centric process approach. So, I have been evangelizing digital transformation, especially for small and medium businesses, so German Mittelstand, for the last couple of years, and I have always said there are 3 pillars to digital transformation. And the first one is people, then processes, and then technology. Of course, there might be trends like AI, hyper automation or intelligent automation, but that's the technology. That's the last layer of our 3 pillars. For the BPM, as we all want to do business process management, the processes are in the second layer. But if we go deep, digital transformation is a change management process. Therefore, we need humans and human-centric approach to business process management. Having said that, I believe 2023 we'll put more emphasis on the topic, and more people-centric, human-centric process management approaches we will see being implemented in the companies. So that's my top trend for 2023. Maybe it's not that hype, but at the end of the day, we are the ones who decide how our future will be when it comes to business process management. Thank you, Mirko, for this opportunity, and Happy New Year.
Yeah, Can, thank you very much for reminding us of the human-centric BPM approach. And that brings us already to the results of the new process survey. But before, a big thank you to all the experts for handing in their topic recommendations for 2023. That's really great. Thank you so much. Okay, but I also would like to thank you all the ones who participated in the new process survey, which was online in November 2022, and took the time to fill out the questionnaire, answer my questions. And core was the question on what do you have on your list for the year 2023 with regards to BPM in general or new process in more specific. And there were 2 major topics as the result. For sure, there is a list of other smaller topics just named several times, but there are 2 big topics which can be identified here in the survey. And topic number 2, so the one which was ranked second highest with half of all participants, so 50% of all the participants named this as a topic on their list for 2023. This is something which I would summarize under the name of BPM governance. So this consists of topics like defining the role of the process owner, defining process ownership, the interaction of processes and structure. So how do processes interact with the structure of the organization based on the roles? Setting up a company-wide BPM framework, that seems to be a huge topic. And also standardization of processes at several locations is something which falls into the overall topic of BPM governance. And for me, this is basically reflected by all the items I collect in the New Process Toolbox, which you can find on newprocesslab.com. So that's where you will find the New Process Lifecycle as my blueprint on how to manage and improve or even innovate processes. So with all the different phases, starting from process purpose, picking up, defining the process strategy, designing the process, mapping or modeling the process, implementing it, and finally steering the process, and then improving the execution of the process at the different locations. For example, with regards to standardization, picking up the cool ideas of the different instances and bring that to the global level again and roll it out and let these local innovations scale and have a standardized process at several locations. So that's finally also the outcome of this process. And that's what I would summarize as BPM governance. Very important part of the concept as well is the role concept, like establishing the role of the process owner, the role of the process architect, and so on, and how these roles interact. So you will find more information on these topics in the New Process Toolbox on newprocesslab.com. And for sure, this is a part I will dive deeper into in the upcoming year. And I already started researching on governance topics according to the new process lifecycle within the last episode, when I interviewed Lars Lindekogel on how to develop a strategy to find out and apply this onto processes to find a way on how to develop a process strategy itself in the new process lifecycle. And this is what I'm going to integrate there in the toolbox as well, I guess after Christmas. And I'm going to continue with interviews of experts to integrate their ideas, their experiences into the toolbox and into the new process lifecycle there. So feel free to have a look into the toolbox on newprocesslab.com, starting with process purpose. This is already mapped and defined there. You can download the new process purpose canvas, for example. And my plan is to continue with setting up this toolbox and adding more and more information for you as a blueprint, which you then can apply to manage and improve your own process as well. And then the highest ranked topic with 55% of the participants who have this somehow on their list is what I again would summarize under the title of Inspire People for Processes. So your answers were something like get rid of the negative reputation of BPM of the past, make sure that BPM is considered as a strategic asset, implementation of a human-centric BPM framework. This is, by the way, something I'm working on with 2 customers right now to set up a human-centric BPM framework based on the new process principles, new process lifecycle, role concept, and so on. Implementation of an actively lived process culture. For me, that's a major part of what I'm doing. So to make sure that the people really live processes and all the employees have access to process-oriented thinking and are not alone in their silos of their separate teams or departments. Also the integration of employees into process activities is part of how to inspire people for processes. And finally, to improve process awareness and skills. That's also important for me as well. And that's on your list for 2023 too. So there I'm already thinking about developing a game like the pizza game we discussed in the past, completely rethink this game and bring that to a new level and make it available for you out there to inspire your own people for processes in general or for a specific business process. So that's the idea there. So these are the top topics. For sure, also process mining and regulation management, increased process maturity, process performance, sustainability, the interface of IT and business. These are also smaller topics on your list, but what I'm going to do is I will definitely focus on inspire people for processes as well as BPM governance, so setting up a framework, a human-centric BPM framework, including a tool. So, thank you so much for all of you who completed the survey. It's good to know what you have on your list to make sure that all my efforts go into the right direction to really help you solve your problems. And I just can ask you to feel free to contact me. And if you would like to learn more, I will definitely try to get all the ideas together to help you out and improve your BPM and inspire your organization for processes.
Let's recap today's new process inspiration.
Yeah, cool. Let's just quickly wrap it up. So what the experts had as recommendations that ranged from removing the artificial borders between the 3 dimensions, mining, designing, and automating. Enterprise management was on the list. Process mining as a big topic, as well as process automation. Then the process performance was one of the recommendations. And finally, focusing on a human-centric BPM approach. So thank you very much to all the experts for their input. And the two major topics from the new process survey were to inspire people for processes and BPM governance. So keep that on your list for 2023 and watch out for tips and tricks, methods, tools, best practices on newprocesslab.com as well as in the New Process podcast. So to give you a more specific outlook on what is coming up here, what I have on my list for 2023, that's for sure I'm going to work on inspire people for processes. So topics like what is a process influencer? That's something I would like to open up. I will definitely deep dive more into gamification to rethink the pizza game, to provide something to you which you can use to inspire your people for processes. I'm also thinking about setting up a journey to bring together people from different organizations to, explore how to inspire people for processes together and share all the learnings in a smaller group. That's something I have on the list for 2023. I'm also going to deep dive more into the human-centric BPM framework, so setting up the new process lifecycle on newprocesslab.com as a reference, as a blueprint, which you then can use to improve your own process management or just get ideas and use that to inspire people within your organization. So that's definitely on my list, as well as finding a human-centric BPM tool, or at least optimizing a number of existing tools for a new process. So that's really a challenge right now. I'm having a closer look on a number of tools and try to find ways to, make it easier for the employees to find their process and to understand their process, give them access. Because unfortunately, most of the tools are designed for experts and not for the employees. And that's definitely not human-centric. It's focused on a small group of humans, but not on the broad majority of the employees. And definitely BPMN 2.0 is not a human-centric process notation. So that's also something I'm exploring right now. And I'd love to hear your feedback on that. So these are my 3 items on the list. And finally, just again, a big thank you to all the experts, to the new process community, as well as to all the listeners out there. I'm now going into a short holiday break, so probably the next episode will go live on the 11th of January. Until then, I wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you very much. Bye-bye and auf Wiedersehen.
You've been listening to the New Process Podcast. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode for more tools, methods, and best practices to rethink your process and push it to the next level. Thank you for listening.
Okay, before you leave, just a quick tip for the holidays. So if you have some time which you would like to use to listen to podcasts, I can recommend you to listen to the most successful episodes of 2023 of the New Process podcast. So there I would recommend to listen to episode number 6, how to lead 20,000 and more employees with processes, with Michael Bögle from Lufthansa Technik. So that's episode 6. Or also a good one, episode 18, What Life of a Real Process Architect Looks Like, with Christoph Bünker, also from Lufthansa Technik. And finally, episode number 16 on gamification ideas to inspire people for processes with Jasmine Caritas is also in the top 3 of the most listened to episodes of the New Process podcast. So enjoy the holidays. Have a great day and bye-bye. See you next year.